If you work with local businesses, you probably have heard this. I need more leads. I used to think that that was a problem too. Most of the time, it isn't. Hey, my name is Paul Kim, and in this channel, I talk about more income, more freedom using AI and automations. All right, so in today's video, I want to talk about what most local business owners think is that they need more leads. Most of the time, it's not. And I'm going to go dig into it a little bit further. What most business owners are experiencing is that when leads come in, there's usually three things that typically happen is that they don't convert, number one. Number two is that there is no consistent follow-up, right? And then lastly, the leads disappear or they basically ghost you, right? So the business feels very busy and not stable, right? And it feels like you're constantly always reactive and not proactive. So let's explain the reasoning why what is the perception. So leads are more visible and it's measurable, right? At the end of the day, you pay for most local businesses will pay for a certain number of leads and you get a certain ROI. So if a certain amount closes, then you have a number and whether it works or not, right? And in most cases, ads provides a quick win. And it's always easier to ask for more rather than looking inward. What I mean by that is that nobody wants to admit that you have an internal issue at the end of the day. And leads are easier to blame, and I think systems are harder to face. Let's step back a little bit and think about it from a systems perspective, right? So leads versus system. What are leads? Leads are really inputs, right? And what is the output? Output is a result of the system. Okay, so let's think of it from and I'm sure a lot of people have thought about or know about the leaky bucket concept, right? So meaning that you put as much water as you put into a bucket, and let's think of the bucket as a system, right? The more water you put in, right? And if you have a leak, which is the system, then no matter how much water you put in, you're always constantly going to have a leak. And I think the more water that you put into the bucket, and that's going to create chaos and that's going to create a bigger leak, in my opinion, right? So, what are some of the common leaks? I'm going to talk about four right now. Number one is the response time in terms of responding to the lead, right? Um, Number two is there follow up to when the lead comes in? Number three and four kind of relates, but number three is um, there's trust, right? And so the lower the trust, of course, the more follow-up you're going to need, right? Number four is visibility, right? You can look at that as credibility as well, but do you have some sort of visibility in terms of your online, right? So let's step back and really ask before we add more volume to the bucket or before we add more leads. These are some of the questions that we have to think about. And I'm going to go over five of them. Number one is, how are we getting more leads, right? And that's something that we really have to consider. Number two is what happens after the lead comes in, right? Number three is the follow-up automatic or manual? And nothing to, and there's nothing wrong with being in manual, but is there any follow-up, right? Number four is there a clear next step, after the follow-up, after, a specific step until you get to a end result? Is there clear next steps? And then number five is, does your presence or visibility create trust, right? At the end of the day, because the more the leads have trust in you, they're more likely going to convert. So after, you really sit down and think about these, this is going to help you build clarity before you start adding volume or adding more leads into your business. So, so from a builder's perspective, right, you have to diagnose the problem before you start adding more volume, right? So there's no way that you can grow without fixing the system. So whether you call it a audit or whether you call it review or diagnostics, at the end of the day, you have to fix the system beforehand. All right. So if your business, or maybe you have a client that has a business that feels unstable, right? And they're saying we need more leads, right? It's usually not a leads problem, and so you have to dig a little deeper and figure out the system, right? And typically, you have that means they're requiring you to sit down and really audit, really review their overall process, and then figure out what is breaking in the system. And let me leave you with this question, and hopefully this question will help you. So if we were to 10x your leads in the number of leads that are coming into your business, what would break? Can you handle it? And what would be the process? And what would break first? That's the first thing that you have to fix. All right. So I hope this helped. Leave in the comments below if that were to happen, if you were to 10x the number of leads, what will break? Leave your comments below. I would love to hear it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. All right. Bye now.